All right, Ms. Slyman here with our last example for this set of notes, 03.04. We're trying to show that x plus 2i is a factor. Well, remember, if it's a factor, that means it divides with a remainder of 0. I can use 2i inside my synthetic division, so I'm going to have negative 2i, because it's always the opposite. So one of my solutions here would be minus 2i. 2, negative 1, 8, negative 4. And some things you might need to know. So I, like I've said, is the square root of negative, really is the square root of negative 1. That means I squared is going to be negative 1. So just some helpful hints for us to know. All right, draw the line, bring down the 2, multiply, negative 4i. If I add those up, I'll get negative 1 minus 4i. Multiply again, that's going to give me positive 2i. Negative 2i times negative 4i is plus 8i squared. But like we've just said, I squared is negative 1. So this is going to be the same as minus 8. So 8 minus 8 is going to turn into 0, so I'm left with just a 2i here. Negative 2i times 2i, that's negative 4i squared. But again, I squared is negative 1, so negative 4i squared is going to be positive 4. So let's just write out what we've been saying here. Positive 8i squared is the same as negative 8. Negative 4i squared is the same as positive 4. That leaves us a remainder of 0. So definitely, x plus 2i is a factor because its remainder is 0. The other way we could try to do this is we could try to factor it and show that x plus 2i is a factor that way. So I see groups of 4, so I see 4 terms, so I'm going to think about grouping. Minus x squared plus 8x minus 4. Common factor, x squared, leaves me 2x minus 1. Common factor of 4 leaves me 2x minus 1. Common factor of 2x minus 1. X squared plus 4. Well, when I said that a sum of squares doesn't factor, it doesn't factor and give me real terms, but I could think of 4 as being negative 2i squared. So let's think about that. Negative 2i squared, that's going to be the same as, sorry, I don't even need negative 2 squared, no, not negative, but I will need a minus in there later. So 2i squared would be 4i squared, which would be negative 4, but I want positive 4, so this is the same as x squared minus 2i squared. And now it is a difference of squares, it's just with imaginary terms. So 2x minus 1 times x plus 2i and x minus 2i. So x plus 2i is a factor, and we can show it either with synthetic division, getting a remainder of 0. So r equals 0, therefore x plus 2i is a factor. Or you can actually factor it to show that x plus 2i is one of the factors. And this is super important, that if x plus 2i is a factor, so is x minus 2i, and we're going to look at that more in upcoming units. As always, if you have questions about this, please come ask them. I'll see you in class.